Joining me now is actor, activist, and the host of the Being Jewish podcast, Jonah Platt. Jonah, welcome to The Story Is for the first time. So your podcast looks at the concept of being Jewish. And obviously, Jews, Israel, sort of at the heart of this fight. What are you hearing from Jewish Americans when it comes to the Iran war?
I would say generally speaking, and of course it's different, we're not a monolith, but generally speaking, there is support for this war because there is great understanding of the plight of the Iranian people. And there are many Iranian, Persian Jews here in America, especially in Los Angeles, where we're filming this. Big community here.
More Iranians live in Los Angeles than any other city in the outside of Iran.
Right.
And certainly, if you go to Beverly Hills, a place that has a tremendous number of Persian Jews, this thing is very popular, and President Trump is very popular for doing it.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, those are the voices that I listen to. I say, what are the Persians saying about what's going on in Iran? They are fully in support of it. They want their people to be freed from this horrible regime that has taken the entire country hostage. And the rest of the Jewish community, for the most part, certainly not everyone, but is right there with them.
I mean, the Jewish community, though, is very split.
Sure.
Because Jews traditionally are Democrats, traditionally maybe don't love this concept of President Trump, but then also see the Trump administration really backing Israel, really being an ally when it came to what happened with the hostages, really being an ally when it comes to this war. So many Persians that live here who are frustrated with various leaders over the years feel like Trump is finally doing what they wanted.
Yep.
But then you also have liberal Democrats who are Jewish who kind of don't know what to do.
That's exactly right. You've put the pin right on the tail of the donkey.
Yeah.
Liberal Jews who have been overwhelmingly Democratic in this country for a long time feel politically homeless. They're just not sure where they fit right now because on social issues, on policy, on all the things that have traditionally been Democrat, and we're talking like 70, 80% of American Jews, they feel Democrat. They are liberals, and that's in line with their values. But all the things you mention makes them go, when it comes to the Jewish part of my identity and who I am,
right.
I'm seeing things that feel a lot more supportive for me on the right, and certainly in the foreign policy world.
Well, and we've seen sort of Republicans go out of their way on the anti-Semitism issue to try to combat that and to try to sort of own that fighting of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, you see Rubio and Cruz coming out strongly, and you don't quite see that as strongly in the leadership, at least of the Democratic Party.
Well, let's talk about that issue of rising anti-Semitism, because we saw plenty of it before this war. I mean, we've seen a rise in anti-Semitism since October 7th.
And before it was rising as well.
Which helped to lead to October 7th. Yeah. What are we seeing now in the aftermath of the war?
It's like it's never been in our lifetimes. I mean, we are seeing so many parallels socially to what things were like in Europe in the 30s. I'm not suggesting that we are facing another Nazi Germany situation,
right.
But some of the conversations and the rhetoric and the patterns, you can pluck them right out. I'm actually studying that era for a master's in anti-Semitism studies, and there are verbatim quotes pulled from the papers of the day, from intellectuals of the day, that could literally be coming out of the mouths of the people who are leading the anti-Zionist hate movement today.
And there are some people still alive from that era, Holocaust survivors who
Thousands.
I know you've talked to and I've certainly talked to, and they say more than any other time in their life, this feels the most similar to that. Obviously,
100%.
we are not there yet, and not want to suggest that anybody is Hitler, because that doesn't exist currently.
Yeah.
But there are parallels that freak out people from that time.
Yes.
Let's talk about the concept of Zionism,
Yeah.
which is different than the concept of Judaism. Can you explain the difference between the two and how people are sort of viewing Zionism right now?
Yes, so the true meaning of Zionism has gotten totally obfuscated. It means different things to different people, and especially outside the Jewish community, people are sort of saying, this is what it is, and I'm going to tell Jews what it means. What it really means, briefly, in its most concise, is it is the belief that Jews have the right to self-determination in some part of the land to which they are indigenous. That's it. It doesn't mean you support the current government. It doesn't mean you're against Palestinians. It doesn't mean the maximalist view of Israel. It just means you think Jews should be in charge of themselves in some part of the land that they're from originally. That is it. And so it's been taken all these different directions. It's used as a coded word often just as a derogatory term for Jews. And Judaism is the people. It's the tribe. It's thinking of this ancient social group that doesn't really exist anymore, so we don't really recognize it, but we share a religion, we share a history, we share customs, we share a calendar, we share a language, all these things that a tribe shares, that's Judaism.
And by the way, Bibi Netanyahu is not the Pope.
Right.
He doesn't speak, he's not a religious leader for Jewish people.
Not at all.
He is a political leader in a country who has all sorts of political problems in that country.
Yeah.
And just because he says something doesn't mean that that is what the Jewish people around the world believe as well.
No different than in our country with our leader, who is not the Pope. Some people believe what he says, some people don't. He doesn't speak for all Americans. That's how it works.
Yeah, he's not any child of coming from God or anything like that. Jonah Platt, thank you so much for your insights. Clearly, I'm fired up on this topic too. We appreciate it. Check out the Being Jewish podcast wherever you get your podcasts for more conversations like this.